Sweet. So yeah, rigging is a lot of fun, right? It's like pretty challenging. It's not too simple, but it's really just, I think it's just breaking the process down in your head. It's the hardest part. I don't know if anybody in here has much experience with rigging. Somebody probably has more experience than I do with rigging. Feel free to, you know, be like, yo, dude, here's this little tip and trick. That's totally cool. So I don't know if y'all got Auto Rig Pro installed. It'll be in your add-ons. It'll, you know, be popping up on the right-hand side with your in button. And you have Auto Rig Pro, right? And we'll go through that, but not quite yet. If you got your beast in and started, the way that we will start this up. So Rigify is native to, or not, I mean, Rigify, yeah, I guess is native to Blender, right? So the way that you can get those armatures is through your Shift A, through your add drop down. You have armature, right? And then you have single bone. And you also have the meta human, the meta rig, human rig, animals, stuff like that. I've not really played with any of these IKs. That's probably like a nice easy setup for you, but just gonna go ahead and run with a single bone for right now, just to show you guys. So when you get your single bone in, you just Shift A, and then you can do your single bone. And basically, like, the one thing that I would say that is pretty key with rigging is trying to stick to your axes, like committing to your, keeping things to your Z's and X's and stuff when you're moving things around. But so you start with your single bone. It's going to drop in the middle like that. Go ahead and G for grab, and then Z that thing, and you can move it up. Now we're also going to want to go into either wireframe, or you can go into X-ray. Either one works, whatever you prefer. And then when you get down with like face rigging and stuff, which I'll show you guys a little bit of, you're gonna want, and you might as well do it now if you're following along. Over here, by your grid button, if you go down, click on the little down arrow, you got geometry down here. You can go ahead and turn that wireframe on. What you can do with that, especially when it comes to face rigging, is you can get your points snapped like right to these individual vertices, which is, from my understanding, optimal, right? Try to get as accurate as possible when it comes to certain finite things like the face. So you have your one bone, right? And then from there, you're just going to want to size it appropriately, and you have to be in edit mode. So just select on your bone, go into edit mode. It'll turn to a solid as opposed to orange outline, right? Now each one of these points, you've got your little individual ball points, and then you've got your actual bone, and then and they all will operate accordingly, right? So for here, we're going to want to size this down. This is going to be kind of this will be your root bone essentially. And and mind you, there's a lot of ways to rig, and some of them are like really intricate, and some of them are less so. Let's see here. Let me see if I gotta get rid of this parent real quick. So and I will tell you guys that, okay, so yeah, just select on your whole bone right there. It doesn't scale. I know that it doesn't scale with your little ball joints. So just select your whole bone and go ahead and scale that down, just so it's not so big, because what you're going to do is build a spine on top of it. So go ahead and scale that guy down about yay big. However, you know, nothing super crucial, but you can always adjust it later. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to rig. You know, that it depends, right? So I know that one way a lot of people will put a bone down here, and you'll have that as your kind of your master bone, your master parent bone, right? And then what I have learned recently too, though, is for setting up IK, which is pretty cool. You can extrude little joints out, and you assign that to an IK constraint, and then you can use that as your control, which is a pretty good way. Like I said, there's like 100 ways to skin a cat, no pun intended, but we'll go this way for today. So go ahead and select on your ball, and then you hit E for extrude, and then go ahead and hit Z to stay on that Z axis or the Z axis, and you're going to want to extrude a bone up. It'll just go ahead and pull that little guy up for you. The one thing that I will say, like with rigging and stuff, and remember your 3 is your side view. Super handy especially when it comes to rigging. So your 1 and your 3, you can go with your 7 for top. You can go with your 9 for bottom, and then what is it? What's the other side? 9. Yeah, 3 and 9 are your 2 side views. So these come in good handy because you want to make sure you're not going astray. It's really easy to do that. And like sometimes, I don't know if it's calibration of the mouse, or sometimes you think you're going straight, but you're not at all. So just keep that in mind. Go ahead and extrude a couple bones out. Let's see, we can 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll go 3 up to the neck, and then do 1 more for the head. So go E and then Z. And then you can pull 1 up to the head. It looks like we're pretty straight on there. I did stray a little bit, it looks like. All right, cool. So now what we're going to do from here is, and we're only going to rig one side, right? Or we're only going to bone one side. And then with the naming, if you name it properly, then you can go ahead and symmetrize that, and it'll set you up with a whole other side. So nice little time saver there. So what we're going to do though is, now here's another thing, and I'm not, like I said, not super pro, but some people will go ahead and run off of here. Some people leave this little tailbone. I think that's if you're going to add, probably for any other characters and stuff like that with actual tails. But I'm going to go ahead and so we'll just go ahead and give that a shot today and see how that is. And I'm going to run my hip joints off of this top ball of your root. Okay. So just go ahead and extrude, and then you're going to want to hit E and then X. Go back a little bit. And I'm actually going to go into full wireframe. There you go. Here's another little trick too, and I'm not sure. I think we can do it right off the jump, I believe. Should be able to. You can set it, you can assign it so that it sits up front. Let me see if that's available yet without being assigned. It's going to be in your, should be in your properties, bone groups. Maybe not. I'll find that. Okay, so anyway, scratch that. But yeah, I've never tried it with my own when I'm making a rig from scratch. But typically, there's a spot right that you can go ahead and have it so it pulls up front, so you can see it more prominently. But we'll just go ahead and leave that alone for today. I'm gonna delete these real quick because I was not on point with pulling those out. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and hit E and then X and keep it on a straight line, right? And go ahead and pull out your little hip joint right here. Same thing over, well, no, right here. Now we're gonna move down. So we'll go E and Z, and we'll give this a little bit of a curve right here, so that it's not just like sticking so far straight. Act like normal bones. And then we're going to go ahead and do that one more time. We're going to pull this one down to about the knee. And we'll go ahead and hit E and Z one more time here. Pull this one down. I don't think I pulled that one down to the knee yet. Let's go a little farther on that guy. Boom. All right, and then right now is typically on these where you're going to want to go ahead and get in your side view, and you're going to want to pull this one down to about your ankle bone. Okay, and then you're going to want to go ahead and give one for your foot. So go E, and then we're going to go Y this time. Go out this way, and then you can come down a little bit. So go G and Z. Right, and then just think about it how the foot works. Really, you want to think anatomically when you're doing this. And then the toes, you know, they curl downward and inward. So we'll pull out one for the toes real quick. Go E and Y, and we're going to make sure that that's going downward a little bit, right? And then you can just adjust that accordingly, however you see fit. Now you want to. It's pretty important to have this. Your joints. You want to have definitely a degree of influence in the way that our joints function. Like if you have this straight up and down, or you have it to the back at all, your leg's going to end up folded backwards. So you want to try to position it so you have a nice little bend here, and the way that you can achieve that is by pushing this back in the ankle a little bit, and then just go ahead and pull this guy back towards your rear just a little bit. So I'm using G and then Y. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, and you want to try to keep your bones in your mesh as much as possible within the volume of the mesh. Sometimes they'll poke through a little bit, but just by practice, you want to get in the habit to try to size your bones so they stay within the mesh. So remember, we don't need to do this side because it's going to do that for us. We can go ahead and move up now to, let's see here, let's pull this up a little bit more. GZ, let's go ahead and pull this guy up a little bit more. GZ. So what I think I want to do is give us one more, just bear with me here. I'm going to give us one more bone. So let's go a little bit smaller, actually. Don't mean to have you guys running all over the place, but I don't do my own custom rig too often. I usually use the tools, but it's totally doable. So okay, from here, and then we'll go ahead. We got 1, 2, 3 on the spine, right? That's a pretty good number. You want to have a decent amount of flexibility, and then we'll go ahead and run one more for the neck bone. So E and Z, and then we'll go and run one more for the head bone. So E and Z again, and that one can be a little bit larger. All right, so right here from your top spine to your neck bone, you can go ahead and throw in a little clavicle. So you're going to want to go E and X, okay? And then keep that guy a little bit small, and then go ahead and grab that point and go Z to drop it down just a little bit because we want to get that natural flow into the arm just like the body travels. And then from here, we're just going to continue over. So go E, and then we're going to want to go X. And this is going to be about to your so there's two, and like I said, these can get as complex or as simple as really you prefer on how you want your model to actually move. So some people do a really tiny little clavicle right here, and then do a let's go X, and then they'll do like an actual little shoulder bone. For the purposes of this, I don't think it's necessary, so I'm just gonna go ahead and run this over a little bit more, and then this will be our upper arm. And go right to like the crease of the forearm, basically, or your elbow rather, and then go ahead and run one more over, and that'll go to your wrist, and then you can run one more to your hand. So E and then X, and then this would be essentially your conjoiner for your hand, right? And then we can make fingers if you guys want to. It's not too big of a deal, but you just got to do the same thing and go ahead and extend out. We can do that real fast if you want to. So that would be a G, and then we'll go with a Y over a little bit, and then we'll just go ahead and pull that guy over up. So this is where it comes in handy. It really comes in handy with being good at your keyboard with your axes, working with your axes. I stressed that on Monday. Because this really helps. It will really increase your speed and your accuracy when you can go ahead and just do this without thinking. As far as the coordination between your eyes and your keyboard. So I'm going to run one more here with the E and X, and then we'll run one more right there. So there you essentially got a finger right there, right? And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing. Just repeat the process. This one, I'll go ahead with a Y first over here a little bit. Where did that guy go? Did I get one? No. Back on that, okay. So yeah, the fingers can get a little bit tricky. It's like a little bit more of a precision work. But the thing with rigging, man, that I've really noticed is, like, honestly, the biggest thing is patience, and like not setting yourself up to like get lost or break your rig, because it's easy to happen, because it can get like really. Sometimes I have trouble with like super tedious stuff, and this is definitely one of them. But it's worth it though once you get it. You're like, oh, okay, cool, I can do that. All right, so one more here for the thumb. It looks like I'll go ahead and probably just drop this back a little bit. So grab, and then I'm going to X that a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and make it from there. Go E and Y, and then we'll go E and X. Okay, and then go ahead, grab that, and then go Y. And like I said, you don't have to be super stickler with your axis keys, but like it definitely is helpful because you can get lost super easy when you're doing this in this in this type of scenario. So you think you're in Albuquerque and you made it to China, you know what I mean? All right, cool. So that is looking pretty good, right? Now, one thing that we want to do, and this is like I said, it's a little bit tedious, but you got to go through. You want to go through and name your bones, right? And so the way you can do that is by hitting F2. Should be able to hit F2. Let me see if, oh, there we go, F2, and then name the bone. And this one will be your where are we at right here? This will be the root bone, or do we want this to be the root bone? We'll go ahead and make that. If you did make a little tail, go ahead and, yeah, you can make that the root bone. That works. So F2, and then you can rename your bones. So we'll go root, and then when you get into the left and right side, the trick is to do a period and then a capital L or a capital R for the naming convention with Blender. It's pretty particular. So like right here, we'll call this one hip, but it's going to be hip, and then it's going to be a period, and we're on the left side, so capital L. Now if you do that, then you should be able to symmetrize, and it should rename the other side for you. So F2 again, we'll just go with this with thigh, and go period capital L, and if we're lucky, these will all work. And then same thing, F2, we'll call this the shin, sure, and then period and capital L. All right, and then we'll go down into your, what do we have here? We'll go, do I have a foot and an ankle? No, I just got, so we'll just call this foot. And then we'll go with toe. Okay, and then we got to run upright. We'll go spine. We can go spine 1. This one right here, hip. It's called that hip.L. Hip left. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, F2 and then hip, and then you got your thigh, and then your shin, and then you could have an ankle. But I mean, like I said, you could throw in you could make this thing a little worm if you wanted to, but no need. So then you got your shin, and then you got your foot and your toe. And then yeah, and these your numbered pad keys are just pretty clutch, man. It's really good for keeping things tidy. I just got in the habit of using those more so recently, and I'm glad I did. Definitely helps. F2, and then we're on spine. I just did spine 1. I don't think you need any suffix or prefix in that. Same here. We'll go spine 2. I guess you could give it a dot since these are named with a dot. We'll just do that just in case. So spine .02. How about that? Change this to spine .01. And F2 spine .03. And then this will be the neck. Just neck. And then we'll call this the head. Okay, and then right here on the right hand side, or sorry, the left hand side, we just changing the rules today. Left is right. On this left hand side right here, we can call this whatever, but I would say it's like a clavicle, right? So you can call it shoulder or clavicle, whatever you prefer. I'll just go ahead and call it clav.L. And then this will be upper arm. Call this forearm or lower arm. And then we got hand, and then the fingers, of course. And the way that typically that these are done, it'll be according to the joints, it'll just run numerically. So looks like that guy needs to go inside a little bit. If you are setting these up, like if it wouldn't be symmetrizing it for you, one thing you can do is use the mirror key, or if you're adjusting this later, you can use your mirror keys up here. Turn that on, the little butterfly looking thing up there. Definitely good for working on rigs, just to keep in mind. So, but yeah, off the hand, I'm going to go ahead and just call this 1, 2, and 3. So this will be thumb. Thumb. I think, yeah, if you go thumb L, right, and then thumb.L 0, 1 should work. That should work just fine. You can have numbers after, I believe. Maybe we'll just go ahead and like I said, it's been a while since I've ran my own rig up, but thumb we'll just go thumb 01.L just to keep it on the suffix right there. That almost looks like it could be backwards, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works. We're just doing this together here, so. Okay. Yeah, probably could have even just left the hand out for right now, but it's good to know how to do it in case you're trying to do it at home, right? So, and then we'll go this one will be your pointer or index. (01.L) index 01 or 02.L index 03.L. Alright, now if all is done well and correctly, we should be good to go as far as symmetrizing. Like I said, I haven't ran up my own rig in a minute, so hopefully this will work for us. I'm sure it should, but the tools for rigging are dope, but it is good to get in the habit of being able to run your own rig, just because, like for me, when I'm doing different things, anything like with music, with using plugins, with Blender, with using add-ons, stuff like that, like I have no problem using them because the technology's there, and it really does help it'll shortcut and save you a lot of time, and you can get a lot of dope results. But what I do like to do is still go, and I like to learn how it does, like how the plugin works, just so you're not fully dependent on them. But that's just the food for thought. So if you guys are there, let me know, and then I'll continue on. can auto name. That's cool. Yeah, see, if you when you start looking through some of these lists, man, with bones and rigging, like, it gets so intricate. It can definitely be pretty intimidating. Now, if under armature though, if this all worked well, then we should be able to symmetrize this. Go ahead and your roll should be okay. You'll see that, I guess, when you get it rocking, which way it starts, you know, pulling the mesh. You'll see how well your roll is assigned. You can adjust that to different axes, different grids. But go ahead and go into armature. I think you're going to want to go ahead and highlight your rig, and then go into armature, and then if you hit symmetrize down here, should work. There we go. Sweet. So we're off to the races, and it worked. Now you should have a double-sided rig. You might see a little bit of breakage in the mesh on one side or the other, and that's where you're going to want to probably go ahead and try turn on your mirror right there, and just work around it from side to side, front to side. Obviously, right here I got a little issue going on there, so just go ahead and pull it over with an X. The mirror might not fully work if you're a little off balance. I think mine was not. See, mine was not brought in. I brought it in freehand, so it wasn't sitting perfectly on the grid. So that's why I'm running into that issue. But so I'm going to just go ahead and turn that off and just do a little adjustment real quick. Go ahead and run to my side. Let's go ahead and run around. Nope. Back. Okay, grab my ankle here. Make sure it's not all pigeon-toed. Then you'll see, like, when you grab the balls or the bone, how it behaves. Like on the balls, it pivots, right? Obviously. And then if you grab the whole bone, it'll move more of a strafe. Let's just pull this guy out just a little bit to get him. All right, so that's looking decent for me. Not bad, not bad. Looking fairly straight up and down. Shouldn't be too lopsided. Anyways, probably even just go ahead and select my whole armature and just give it a little scooch right there. All right, cool. So now what we can do next from here, I think we can go ahead and weight it, or we can go ahead and set up our IKs. Let's do that, and then we'll weight it to the mesh. So to set up your IKs, which is the inverse kinematics, which will give you a little bit more of control points. They're called poles. So what we're going to do for that, if it should be, you should have this in here. It should be under a meta rig, I believe. Target rig. Let's see if this is pulling up meta rig. All Rigify. Okay, so yeah, it's all working under Rigify because we opened it up under Rigify. So sounds good. All right, sweet. So this is where it gets just a little bit tricky. So just bear with me. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna extrude a bone off of your ankle and extrude a bone off of the knee, and that's gonna come straight back. So just go ahead and hit E, and then Y and come back. Right, that's gonna be your control bone. Okay, and then same thing up here. But first, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and select your bone. Go ahead, Bella. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, man. I'm in the armature, the object data properties for your armature. I don't think I even really needed to necessarily do that. I just hit. What did I even hit? It was for, it basically builds you a list according to Rigify. I don't even think I'm going to use that. I didn't mean to confuse you on that one. Like I said, this is where it gets a little bit crazy over here, right? This is where typically, like, a lot of people will kind of shy away, and I did for a while, just because it gets like like some of this shit I still, straight transparency, like some of it I don't know exactly yet, but I've ran this a couple times, and so I feel pretty comfortable. And then at least this will give you guys a good intro to it. You'll be able to kind of work your way around a little bit, and then we'll go into the tools, which are dope. But this will at least kind of give you a quick crash course on setting up these IKs, because you can set up your rig, and then you can just move it bone by bone, and that's pretty awkward. You can set it up and you can join it to the mesh, but then you got to pull each bone individually and stuff. So this IK gives you, essentially, it connects the bones, right? So you can use one bone, like your ankle, and your ankle is going to move your foot and everything up to whatever you have it assigned, all the way up to your hip. Same with your knee. So that's what we will try to achieve here today. And if I fail terribly, then just be like, yeah, that sucked, but at least you just try, and I think we can do it, though. We shouldn't have too much of a problem. Like I said, I usually use the tools, man. That's what I'm really here to show you guys, is getting around the tools, but I figured this would be a good practice for everybody. Yeah. Once you extrude your IK, you want to add an IK constraint to it. Your constraints are this little guy right here. And then go ahead and go to add object constraints, and then there is going to be an IK bone constraint. Should be right. Where's that? What's our bone constraints? Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's why. Thank you, brain. You got to go into pose mode. Bear with me. So go into pose mode, and then you get your bone constraints. There you go. So under your bone constraints, you'll have your IK constraint. So you have your bone constraints when you're in pose mode. Other than that, you just have your regular constraints, right? So go ahead and get inverse your IK on there for your constraint. Yeah, of course, bro, of course. Yeah, so when you're when you're doing all this, you're in edit mode, right? When you're making your rig, okay? But in edit mode, so what we want to do after we extrude this, we're gonna have to assign a constraint to it, right? To make it function a certain type of way. This is the regular constraints tab, right, or button. The IK and stuff is not in there. What you need to do is go to your pose mode. And pose mode is where you'll find a new different set of constraints. Some are the same, but then in pose mode is where you'll get this little, your constraint tab will have a little bone running through it. Looks kind of like a little ham right there, little ham hock. And so that right there is your bone constraints, right? So within your bone constraints, then you go up to add a constraint. Here, I'll just take that out real quick. So when you go to add any type of constraint or to add a modifier or anything, it'll be pretty much blank right here. And then you got to go up to the drop down menu, and it'll say add whatever it is that you're trying to add. So here we're going to add object constraint, or it's going to be a bone constraint rather, right? And so then you hit this drop down, and then that's going to pull up all your different constraints. So you've got your relationship constraints, you got your tracking constraints, your transforms. It's going to be under tracking, and it's going to be your inverse kinematics. So go ahead and select that. Did that help you out, man? I don't mean to move, like, if I move fast on anything, please stop me. Okay. Yeah, sorry, man. I don't mean to. I work in Blender so much, man. So I do apologize. Yeah, feel free to slow me down at any point in time. So yeah, your inverse kinematics. So just to run over that one more time here for you guys, it's probably what a good teacher would do. So we're gonna go ahead. We got our rig in, right, and we went ahead and just to review, we went ahead and started with the single bone, okay, which is in your Shift A, and that's gonna pull up your add drop down, and then you go to armature and go to single bone, and this is going to be a rigify. This is all rigify right here, right? That's native to Blender. So once you get your single bone in there, it's going to show up right down here in the middle, right? And then you pull that guy up to get your rig started, and then that'll be the start of your rig. right? And then you extrude and you pull. When you hit E for extrude, it'll pull the bone up and out, so you get another bone. So you want to go ahead and move along just one side, set that up, E extrude, and use your axes, whatever, and then just do your one side, and then you go ahead and go through it and get the naming convention going with F2. So, and this is all in edit mode. So then when you're in edit mode, you click on your bone, hit F2, and it pulls up the bone name. So that's how we got there. So you want to make sure you have a .L or .R, whatever side you're working on, and then Blender will recognize that. And then when you go to armature and go to symmetrize, you got to select your rig, this half rig, and then go to symmetrize, and then it'll pop this other side in and it'll name it for you. That's their naming convention, so it's really handy. A lot of this stuff is really particular with Blender, especially with, I mean, Blender in general, but like with the rigging for sure. So I thank you for slowing me down a little bit. So then once you're in, now you've got that done, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to create an IK system, an inverse kinematic system, and that essentially gives you a control rig. So inverse kinematics will go from the bone that you have as a control, and then it will pull whatever bones you have chained to it, right? So the whole leg can move accordingly using your controls. So that's where we're at now. So we're going to go up into pose mode to assign the IK constraint to this little bone that you just pulled out the heel. You go to pose mode, you got your IK constraint, you got your bone constraints here, it looks like a little ham, and then go ahead and go to bone constraints, and then you have inverse kinematics. So that's where we're at up to now. Now what we're going to have to do is, let's see, meta rig is going to be our target, and then we are going to have to clear the parent off of this one. One made as offset parent, right? So our target, we should be having it's just going to come up as armature, okay? So target is going to be your armature. And then the bone is going to be the bone we just made. So let's go ahead and name this bone. And it looks like you can do, I was doing the numbers inside and then .L. It looks like you can name it .L and then number it numerically afterwards. So I'll go ahead and do that real fast on this guy. But go ahead and go, I think, do we want to name this one pole, I believe. Pole. .L. And we will go ahead and leave that like that, right? So for whatever reason they're called poles, I'm not sure why, but it's just how it is. So then right here it'll say it's asking for your pole target. Pole target should be right here, I believe. Let's make sure we're doing this right here. Parent. A minute since I've done this, but clear parent, disconnect the bone. So we're going to want to clear the parent. Bear with me here. Command P. It's going to be Control P to clear your parent. Should be. Okay, give me 1 second here. If I get stuck, we'll move on and we'll carry this on. Okay, so correct. All right, cool. So so you want to go ahead and go back after you assign your constraint, or before, either or, probably before, just since you're already in edit mode. You can go to hit Command P, and that's going to clear your parent, right? And then you can disconnect the bone as well. It should be disconnected and cleared. Made as the offset parent. Okay. All right. So let's do this here. I got a little ahead of myself, but not much. So then we're going to want to go ahead and pull the one for the knee as well. So hit E and then X. No, sorry, Y. Pull that one out. And then you're going to want to disconnect this one. Which is your Control P, Command P, and pull it up just a little bit. Okay. Watch me just totally like get stuck right here. I think we can work through this though. All right. So this one's going to be disconnected and pulled out. Okay, a little bit. Now we are going to want to parent this one. And we're going to want to parent it to our thigh. I believe. Separate bones. Bear with me here. I want to keep that offset is why here. Okay, all right. So go ahead and hit your shift. So I don't mean to get you guys confused. I'm a little bit. This is the hard part. This has always been the hard part. So go ahead and hit. You're going to be in edit mode. Forget about the constraints so far. I did just jump ahead one step. So you're going to want to, after you create your extrude off of your knee right here. You want to disconnect it, right? Which is you're going to be hitting Alt or Command P, and then you're going to disconnect the bone. Okay, and then that'll allow you to pull it out from being attached right there. And then you can go ahead and while holding down Shift, you're going to want to select this bone first, and then go ahead and select your shin bone. Okay, and then from there, you want to hit not Command but Control P, and you want to keep that offset. Make parent, but keep the offset. Okay. And if you guys are getting confused, it's okay. Like this is why a lot of people use the tools, because they're dope. This shit is difficult. Now in here on this guy, we already cleared the parent. We're going to go ahead and name this one your pole. This is your pole target. So we'll go pole.l. Okay, cool. So then after we've got this named as your pole target, we disconnected it and pulled it out a little bit. We parented it by selecting it first, and then go ahead and select your shin bone, and then hit Control P, and it'll pull up to either connect it as a parent or keep the offset. And you want to keep the offset. And now we're going to want to go ahead and assign a constraint down here, which what you do is you go into your pose mode. Your target in pose mode, after you assign your constraint, which is your bone constraints, so go ahead and assign your constraint. Assign the inverse kinematics, and then you're going to be selecting the target rig essentially, right? Which is going to be your armature. Yep, it's going to be that top one. It'll be armature. Okay. So now the bone, you're going to want to go ahead and we name this pole. I don't think we want to name this one pole. We're going to go ahead and change this to ankle .l. And for your bone, should be going down to ankle .l, not hand. We want ankle. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, got you. All right. Yeah, this shit's tricky, man. So okay, so now that we're here, we've got this parented, and we've got the constraint off or set with the the constraint here. We've got this parented, but the offset remaining. Okay, and let's see, select and rename our pole. And then back to pose mode, pole to target, meta rig, bone made, roll angle 90. We should be about there. So your chain length is going to be how many bones up you want it to affect. What we're gonna run with is what we've got, 1, 2, and then our hip technically. So it should be 3. Okay, use tail stretch, rotation, and weights. And then our influence, and then our pole target is going to be this guy right here that we name pole. Should be, right? Should be right here. Pole L. Okay. Pole target. Yeah, okay, that should be right. And then you get your pole angle, and that should be 90 degrees. Let's go ahead and join these. Disconnected this one. I don't think we really wanted to disconnect that one, so let's go ahead and parent it to our foot. The way that you can do that is going to be bone groups, motion paths. You can go ahead and parent it with just your command button, but I was going to go ahead and find if because I know there's a spot over here where you can assign your parents, but here we go. Go ahead and select that one first, shift, and you should go like that, right? And then we should be on our way. Set parent to object. Okay, now let's see if this should work, hopefully. So what we did is we go ahead and select this guy first. Go ahead and select your shin bone while holding down shift. And then control and P. And that's going to pull up your set parent too. And then go ahead and hit bone. And that should be, we should be good and parented now. Let's see, hopefully this works. Nope, not working yet. Let's connect them then. You know what I might do, since I wasn't supposed to disconnect that one. Just make a new one. Because I don't have any bone groupings yet, so yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a new one right quick. So I'm just going to delete that one. I'm going to extrude a new one real fast. All right, so we'll see, that should stay parented. Now we'll go ahead and reassign that constraint. Hose mode, bone constraints, IK constraint. Target is going to be the armature. Pole target, it's going to be this guy right here. Just grab the little eyedropper and click on that. And the bone should be your ankle L. Gotta rename it though, that's right, because we changed, got a new one in there. So we'll go ankle L. Okay, sweet. Now let's see if we're on. If not, I'll forget all about it. All right, cool. So pole angle should be 90 degrees. And chain link, we're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it would be 5 actually. So you got your toe too. Weight and rotation. Okay, now hopefully now we're good to go. I guess we'll see. Okay, that guy's working. How's our pole? Is our pole working? Nope. All right, well, we might have to come back to this one because apparently this guy's it's been a while since I've done this. So if but we're not for naught. If anything, we'll come back and re-attack this right here. Let's try to work through it though real quick and then and see here what I'm missing. Maybe it's probably a bone constraint here. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and I do want to show you guys the tools, right? So that we can shift over to that if yeah, I'm trying this one last thing here. This is what I usually do at like midnight to 2 in the morning when I don't have a crowd. So you know, if anything, we'll just come back to this. But I do want to show you guys Rigify and AccuRig and stuff. So I was trying to just give you a basics on this, but I apparently, you know, it's been a minute since I've set up an IK system. So at least you got to the bone setup, right? The bone system setup. But to get the IK is there's a little bit more of a challenge. So apparently I'm challenged today. So we'll go ahead and set up. But I did set up another the constraint here on the knee. We'll give this a try real quick and see if it works. Right, your target's going to be your armature still yet, and the bone is going to should be under your pole L. Okay, there we go. Now we got some action. Okay, that's right. All right, sweet. So we're getting there. And then what happens when you have everything pulling? It's because see, we're getting there. Rotation, okay, influence, and then we'll go ahead and check our chain link system. This chain link system. Well, we got pretty close, guys. We got pretty close. I don't want to take up too much of your time, though, on this. With my noviceness here. Now you got your influence, but that's not what we're looking for. Iteration's not what we're looking for. Okay. Well, we got pretty close on this. We got pretty close. So hopefully, it's good though. What I'll do is I'll get to see exactly what I'm missing on this last step, and then I'll fill you guys in. So what we'll do now. I know I'm like one step away, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and open up Auto Rig Pro. Did you guys go ahead and put in the add-on into your Blender? Okay, cool. Not very long, man. That's not very long at all. So not as long as this. Not as long as this. So we'll just go ahead and attack that real fast. You guys can save your rig if you want. I will let you know. I'll go ahead and drop it in the Discord or whatever what that last step is. I'll fill out a little tutorial for you guys that'll get you solved on that. I'm going to go ahead and just open up. I'm just actually going to just I'll just go ahead and save this as a file here. Save as. Just save a copy. Alright, so saved a copy of that. I'm just going to go ahead and X-name my rig here, and then I'll show you guys. Select all, get rid of the bones. Okay, sweet. So now to the easy part, which is why they made tools for us, which is dope. So now when you go to Auto Rig Pro, if you hit in, if you installed Auto Rig Pro, you'll have this drop down here, right? Now you can go to Auto Rig Pro Smart, okay, and then you're going to want to just go ahead and select all. If you hit select all for some reason in object mode, it'll say only selected meshes. So what I've found is you have to just go and hold down Shift and just go ahead and go through and select your meshes that you want. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and hide the glasses. I don't need the glasses. Yeah, and this will just take a minute for you guys. So go ahead and select all your meshes. Should get our little bottoms, everything. Okay, and then on Auto Rig Pro, you'll go and there's Get Selected Objects under Auto Rig Pro Smart. You're going to want to go ahead and hit that, and then you have full body or facial only. We'll go ahead and hit full body. And then it pulls up your armature, or it pulls up your mesh right there. And then you've got these little this little choice right here, right? And then, add neck is the first one you're going to want to do. Go ahead and add neck, and it's just straight up and down. You can't even move it sideways. This is so much easier. So go ahead and add your neck. And then you go ahead and add chin. And then you go ahead and add shoulders. Kind of like we were doing before, but this is just a little bit easier. And then you add wrists. And then you add your spine root. Just make sure it's within the mesh. And then add ankles. Right, and then 4 fingers. Obviously on the beast, there's 4 fingers. And then for finger thickness, what I found that typically gets in there really well is 5.5 for your finger thickness. And then here is pretty convenient if you want to go into Unreal Engine or anything, but it's got the ARP, the Auto Rig Pro default. It's got the Unreal 4 and 5 mannequins as well. Just stick with the Unreal, the ARP default, right? And then you can leave all these clavicles aligned, no need. Neck count, you can add more bones, more twist bones if you want. Now go ahead and hit Facial Setup. And then Facial Setup has, let me get here where I can see this just a little better for you guys. That's a little bit better. So Facial Setup will pull up this little clown looking face, right? And you can go ahead and select these vertices, and your mirror should be turned on. So just go ahead and hit G to move these, and then you can kind of just shape them out a little bit. This one is the brow, and then go ahead and grab your whole eyeball. Sometimes the eyes are a little offset, Yeah, nope, it's a default. It's on. And then if you guys are familiar, just in case, it's right up here. It should be on your top right. You got that little butterfly looking thing, and then you've got, if you want to mirror X, mirror Y, or mirror Z. So this is on in Auto Rig Pro when you go ahead and set it up by default. Typically, like, see how I got a little bit of an offset there? So I'll typically turn it off to get one right in the right position, right? And so what I'll do to make that easier, if I have to, I'll set up the one that I don't have selected, I'll put in the right spot, because then I don't have to go and select it again. I can just turn X off now, and I can just go ahead and move that to where I want it, right? If that makes sense for you guys. So your eyeballs, and then it's just the same with anything. G is grab, right? And what I tend to do is, with the beasts anyways, for these I'll set the eye on the eyelid. I'll set these top vertices along the eyelid, and then I'll pull these ones around the bottom part of the eyelid. That tends to work pretty well. Okay, sweet. All right, and you're set up right for that. This is going to be your nose, and this will be your cheek jawbone. Okay. And then these guys, you can use these as your ears, right? Just make sure you're getting inside the mesh on that. If you have ears, I know some of them have tiny ones, some of them have long floppy ones, but this should set you up with some ear bones, right? Okay, and then you should be good to go. So just make sure you're all up in the mesh. On there is the only thing. Go ahead and you can stay aligned with your one button. That's helpful, obviously. Your left eye and your right eye looks like here, I got a little bit out of there. Go back and adjust these. Your right eye and your left eye should be in the little boxes down there. You can select your pupils. That's why I'm doing this with the with these vertices for this part, because it'll select your pupils. It'll know where the pupils are. So this is to help you with being able to have control over the eyelids. And I was off. I was out floating around in space on those. So now I'm back here. It's good to stay in one in your front and forward position when you do this. Just do as I say, not as I do. Cool. All right, good to go. Let's pull my cheek back. Okay. All right, solid. So then once you got that set up, should, like I said, left eyeball, you can assign your left and right pupil. Go ahead and leave that override existing rig. Go ahead and you hit go. So you undefined and not exist. Those because I got sunglasses on. So delete those. But you guys should be able to go ahead and hit go, and then I'll be right back with you there. Okay, now let's see. Left eye. Okay, there we go. And then right eye. Boom. There we go. So yeah, you want to click on. It already pulled up something for me for my pupils, but go ahead and click on the your left and right eye and hit that little eyedropper. Pull in, make sure you got your pupils in there. That's what it was telling me. And then go ahead and hit go, and then it'll take a second while it builds out your rig. Okay, sweet. So then you'll see all that bone work and stuff that we just did. That's all put in here for you. Looks like my ears came out a little bit funny, but I'm just going to go ahead and shut my mirror off and just go ahead and position those where they're supposed to be. And that's just really a bonus. The thing I like about Auto Rig Pro over Rigify is Rigify gets really touchy with your bone connections, right? Like if you use the rigs that they come with, and you're trying to adjust them, if you do anything that will disconnect any of the bone chains at all, it'll yell at you and it will not work, which is kind of a headache, right? And so with Rigify, while you're doing this process, you have pretty much free reign, so you don't need to really worry about, you know, if your bones are staying connected or whatever. It'll go ahead and keep that and connect that for you. So now if you have yours, just go ahead and get those adjusted however, right? And then you're pretty much good to go. On the eyeballs, and I know I'm trying to just kind of breeze through this for you guys real quick. What I was saying about the eyes with your wireframe, right here, you know, if it did it well for you, then you're pretty well set up. But you can see how these little balls kind of snap to your vertices, right? And so, but a good trick for that, just so you guys have that in your book, a good trick for that is you can go ahead and change your snapping right here. This is a snapping button. You can go ahead and put that on vertex. And then if you're trying to get really precise, we don't need to really go through this whole process right now, but you can just keep this in your bag. If you're trying to get really precise, if you go ahead and turn your vertices snapping on and you have that wireframe on, select whichever ball you're going to want to move to that vertex, that little spot, right? And just hover over it, and then you can hit G and it'll snap right to that specific one. So you can get really precise. Sometimes it'll throw them out, you know, because you got, like, obviously you're working with some backed ones and stuff. So if you're working in your X-ray mode, just try to be careful. I guess this mode's probably a little bit better here for us. Now this is a spot where you can get lost in here pretty easily. That's why I like to set up this wireframe and then do face orientation. Because then it, you know, it makes it a lot more clear cut, right? Because if not, you can be thinking you're snapping on a vertices, but you're not. You're like a little off base, right? So here is where you can get pretty precise if you're trying to get precise with your eyelids and your eyeballs. Just like I said, we don't need to run through all this. It did a pretty good job of it for me, but you know, you can see, like, you could go and do a little bit of surgery on here if so desired, right? So that's just a little trick for you guys to know. You can see you've got your mouth, you've got in here you've got a tongue. You don't really need a tongue with the beast, obviously, but you've got a teeth bone. If you click on the bone, you can see what it is labeled as up here. That'll tell you. Just a little cheat code. See, these are the ears, and then your fingers. Typically they pull out all right. If not, the thumb will be overlaid in there sometimes. So you typically, if you do have to adjust anything, it's just going to be your one thumb, and then remember to turn on your mirroring for that, right? And then make sure you're grabbing your thumb, which you can see over there, what you're grabbing. Make sure you got your thumb. So none of these are, like, you know, perfect, but this one, Auto Rig Pro, is a solid tool for sure. Super solid tool. Okay, so I got my thumbs now, and I'm just gonna pull these over, right, and get them. Remember to turn off your snapping, or it'll drive you crazy. And then you can go ahead and adjust your thumb in place, and your mirroring should be on, so your other thumb will do the same, and you only got to do it once. Okay, now we're almost to the fun part, which is pretty cool. So you got your thumb in place, right? You got your eyes kind of adjusted. If you want to get surgical with it, everything should be pretty good to go. Now, what you're going to want to do, easy peasy, just go ahead and hit match to rig. Match to rig is going to pull up your control rig, right? So now you got your control rig, good to go. One thing you can do real quick, if you see so fit, you can edit your reference bones, right? So if you want to go back and something's off, you can go ahead and hit edit reference bones. From there, you just want to go ahead and hit match to rig again. When you have your rig, if you see something that's a little off kilter, you can go ahead and you should be able to change the shape. Yeah, go ahead and select something, right? Whichever one you'd want to see if something's a little off, like it's not sitting quite right, like say that one. Go ahead and hit edit shape, and then that'll allow you to move your shape on your control rig a little bit. Okay, and then just go ahead and hit apply shape. Probably should have just shown you guys this from the jump on. It's probably much more useful than trying to do it like an old school style. So just apply your shape, right? And then you can match that to the other side, same as up here. You're mirroring, you've got a little butterfly right here. So you can go ahead and hit that if you so desire, and it'll match you to the other side. So you can just adjust one side, apply shape, boom, good to go, right? All right, so you're almost there. You almost have a rig ready to run. The only thing you got to do from here is go ahead and go up to skin, and when you go to match to rig, it puts you in pose mode. Sorry, Red, if I'm running through this kind of quick. I know we're short on time. Go to edit mode, and then when you're in edit mode, you can go ahead and select, or object mode, I think object, yeah, go ahead and go into object mode, and then you can go ahead and just hit all, right, and select everything. So we did all that in rig. You know, we went to smart rig, put our little points in, put our face points in, made the rig, and then all you do is go match to rig. Okay, and then we're going over here to skin it basically. So you just go to skin, and then you would be in pose mode. It would put you in when you match it to rig. Go ahead and go to object mode, select everything with the A button, right? Now these are some little changes you can make if you need to, not totally necessary. Optimize high res, there's another plugin you can get, but this tends to work pretty well, so don't even really stress it. You can just do selected bones if you want, if you're just trying to reskin certain parts, like if you're trying to reweight it. Scale fix, sometimes if you don't have this bound, like if you did change the scale at all, a good trick that you can get in the habit of is to go ahead and typically always want to go ahead and hit Control A and hit all transforms when you've been doing work, just because it sets all your any of the transforms that you put in, your scaling, anything like that. Not dire, but like sometimes you'll see if the scales don't match. That's why you just go ahead and hit Control A and then hit all transforms, and that'll set your scales. It'll apply your changes basically. So anyway, we're good to go. We'll go ahead and hit A to select all, and then just go ahead and click, holding shift, go ahead and click on the rig. So the rig will be the last thing selected, and now it's the active object, and then you can hit bind, and it should bind you up. You should have a good rig. Take just a second. Auto Rig Pro is pretty key, man. Pretty clutch. Right now it's in the process of just separating out your vertex groups, your weights, weight painting, and getting everything positioned from the rig to the mesh. And then we should be good to go now. So now we're going to go ahead and go into our pose mode. We can unblue this girl here so that she's not looking funny. She looks recognizable, right? Boom. And so now we went into pose mode, right? And we're back here, and we should be running with a operable, rigged up, good to go. So sometimes, depending, I've noticed on some of the beasts, like some of the weights on the clothes, sometimes they'll break through a little bit. You guys have probably seen that as well. So that's just that'll probably have to be for another session with your weight painting, but you should be rigged up and good to go. Everything should function properly. You got your these will Bro, dude, yeah, I know. Like I said, I try to stay somewhat traditional, just for my own knowledge base, bro. But it's such a pain in the ass, dude. Like this is way better, man. So you know, I mean, I don't blame anybody for utilizing the tools, and that's what they're there for. So you know, but it's you know, so we did good though. I did good. I haven't done a rig from scratch in a while, man. So, but yeah, so this Auto Rig Pro, man, you guys got, and it's a good tool. Now you can start working with your weight painting and stuff. That's a whole nother trip. But like you can see how some of these, you know, depends on how the assignments are. And there's like there's different apps, right, that'll do different things. So that's a whole process in itself of discovery and finding out what works best. But off the jump right here, you've got a good, you know, your face will work, your bones will work. You know, you can especially for animation it'll work well, but for posing, you know, you can definitely, like, this is just killer because you can bring expression in, you can move the head, you can do whatever, and so that's off just having your T-pose, right? So it's really easy, really easy. So like I said, all you do is just select the mesh, go to your Auto Rig Smart, get selected objects, it'll guide you right through it. Once it does that, you just go ahead and it'll pull up your bones, and then you go ahead and go match to rig, and then it'll make your control rig. So, and then from there you go up to the top over to skin, be in object mode, select everything, click on your rig last, and go ahead and hit bind, and you're good to go. So, and this is non-destructive, so you can go back, like if you want to go back and adjust stuff, you can, like say you're like, okay, well this, you know, it's kind of not really where I want it to be for the eye or anything like that, then you can always go back to rig, and you can go to edit reference bones, you know, and it's like I said, it's non-destructive, so you can go in here and change whatever you want, move whatever you want around, and then go ahead and just go match to rig again, and then I think you're gonna have to go ahead and bind it again, I believe. Let's check. Nope. If you didn't move anything, if you didn't adjust any of the bones, you shouldn't have to bind it again. If you did, go ahead and rebind it, and then you're good to go. So then you'll have a rig, man, that's operable. You can start to work with some of these control points. Like this will give you a nice little rotation right here on the toe. Your whole block. Typically these feet blocks I'll make a little smaller, like a little flat. I'll flatten them out, and then see how that's breaking through like that. What you can do for that is, and then this will. I guess we can probably call it after this because I know it's getting on. But see, this is one of the poles that we're working on. Like, see these how they're offset out here. So that's going to be one of your pole bones technically. So you just have to play around with that and figure out what you prefer. Now with Auto Rig, I don't know how much time you guys do have, because Auto Rig is good, right? But then I don't know if you guys have worked with AccuRig. AccuRig is also pretty dope. AccuRig is still uses a Rigify rig, but the actual control rig is a little bit different. We don't have to get into that right now if you guys don't want. I mean, I can always show you guys another time. It's all good. But here you can create shape keys with drivers. I don't know if you guys have messed with shape keys. Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. But yeah, so this is a good start for you guys, though. Dude, that. Yeah, weight painting is its own journey too, man. Like it's definitely. All this stuff, that's what's cool about 3D, man, and it's cool, and it's also can be overwhelming at the same time. But because everything is like it's there's so many different facets in everything 3D. You know, I mean, between sculpting, modeling, rigging, texturing, animating after you get it rigged. You know, so like it's a journey, bro. It's a long journey. But yeah, we'll get into weight painting next time, and then vertex groups. There's obviously vertex groups too, so that's really like something that I was kind of putting off for a while, and then I started dipping into pretty heavily this last like month and a half. So it's definitely good to know once you just get through the mental block, you know, because it's over here when shit gets all technical, and it's like I don't know what any of that is. You know, it's one of those things, at least how my brain works. So, but what I'll do, man, in the chat for you guys, I'll drop. There is this the CC pipeline plugin that you can use with AccuRig, right? And so when you create when you create your AccuRig character, or not create, but pull your, and that's just online. It's just a free. It's with Reallusion, and so when you have an AccuRig character, if you use this pipeline right here, what you can do is pretty awesome. You can just, and I'll just show you guys real quick. You go ahead and import your character. It'll pull up as a actor, right? This is how they come, and it'll say auto rig actor FBX unless you change it. So you go ahead and pull that in, and what that does, if you have like Rigify assigned, it'll automatically create the rig for you. Sometimes you can lose your textures, but you can always reassign those. Let me go ahead and move him real fast. Right, and then you should be able to. Yep. So when you do that, right, and this is without going into Character Creator at all. This is just from AccuRig to here with this pipeline plugin. Here's some alpha for you guys. When you do that, you can go ahead right here and you have Rigify setup, and you can hit Advanced or Quick, and you can go ahead and get the different control rig, right? You had to snap to the center, obviously for orientation, and then so hit Attach Meta Rig and then generate Rigify. And what this is a pretty cool rig. I like this rig actually a little bit more, just because of the controls that are with it, and I'll show you real fast, and then we'll go ahead and end this tutorial. But it's going to go ahead and make the AccuRig rig, which is part of Rigify, but you can also use the Auto Rig Pro setup as well. A lot of these are interchangeable. It's just all about the language. It's just the naming conventions have to match, right? So as soon as this guy's done generating, I'll show you why I like this. And that's totally free as well. And I'll link the plugin for you guys, but the plugin is free and the AccuRig is free. So so that's cool. It's some good alpha. And now you guys have Auto Rig Pro, so you should be set up. Set up to rig, man. Just get this to generate here real fast, and then we'll go. But yeah, thank you guys for spending some time with me, man. I appreciate it. Going on the little journey of the manual rigging. It's a pain in the ass, man, but it's good to know, you know. All right, cool. So now I've got my control rig. Go ahead, darling. Oh, you did? Oh, no way. That's funny. Yeah, this isn't mine. It's Homie Papito's. I've been doing some work with it for him. So none of these. Oh, this one. Yeah, that's not mine either. That's I home a few of them that I do work for, but so yeah. So this right here, this is going to be your AccuRig control rig, right? And what's dope about this, I'll just go ahead and delete her out of here real quick. Say goodbye. Leave your hands. So what's dope about this, right, is and you got to do the same thing. You go ahead and go into pose mode. That's how you get action on all these rigs. But you see here, it's got finger controls that come out. It's got this red and it's got the green, right? And so the difference there is going to be your IK and your FK, your forward kinematics and your inverse kinematics, right? Same thing. You got your yellow for your main controls, yeah. But this also gives you this nice little, came out oriented a little strange, but this will be a nice little eye setup. So it came out oriented a little strange for some reason, but that should be, I just have to reparent those. So that's going to be your eyes. But so check this out. So with this, your inverse, your IK and your RK, inverse and FK, sorry. You got the red ones, right, which are one functionality. So you've got this functionality, right, and then which is going to be your IK, and then you see there's this green rig underneath it, right, and you're like, what the hell is that thing doing? So what this gives you, what this pipeline gives you, is the ability to gives you these rig controls. And so you can go IK or FK. And so you see, like, I'm on the left hand side, right? So I'm going to go ahead and switch that to FK. And now it's going to be, now the red is not going to give me anything, not going to give me any results, but the green is going to give me results. So it's a real quick switch between your IK and your FK, which is like a push and a pull motion, basically, used for different situations, right? So that's why I really like this rig, actually. It's pretty dope, and it's totally free for you guys. You don't need to have character creator. So there's a little bit of alpha for you, and that's what I'll leave you guys with. So yeah, that I'll put the link for that stuff in the chat for you guys later on, here as soon as we get off. So yeah, it's so that should help you guys along the way with your posing and your rigging, you know. And one thing you will notice too. Yeah, of course, man. The one thing I will just point out real quick, and this is the last thing. Your left, the right, like if you're on your IK, you can move it around, right? Your FK, your last bone will stay in place. And that's kind of the main difference. You're working from the inside out if you're working on your FK as opposed to your IK. So now you'll see, like, when I'm dancing around here, this one stays in place, right? The hand, because that's the last one in the chain, and I've got the FK turned on. And this one can move freely about. So just a little trick for you guys when you start working in IK and FK. You'll start to pick that up, but just a little piece of gem for you right there. So thank you guys for coming, and I appreciate the time, man. Appreciate you guys.